Hello, everyone, and welcome to movie flashback number 22. In this flashback, we are going behind the scenes of Kingdom of Heaven. If you are new to this channel, click the subscribe button below for future notifications and updates. Click the like button to share this content with other movie fans.
What you do every day, you will be a good man. What God desires is here and here.
This year, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Kingdom of Heaven. It was re-released in theaters earlier this month in a limited engagement, and I was very happy to hear that because this film has been forgotten, which is very unfortunate. When the movie came out in theaters 20 years ago, the running time was about 2 hours, 25 minutes. However, when it was released on DVD, we got the director's cut, which was 45 minutes longer than the theatrical release. And it went on to become one of the greatest director's cut in DVD history. For me, it's one of the greatest films in the past 25 years. I have this ongoing complaint that the film industry give us way too many sequels, prequels, and remakes. So what makes this movie special is it takes place during a time and place most filmmakers ignore. That is during the Crusades, in which the Christians and the Muslims are fighting over Jerusalem. It was directed by one of the greatest filmmakers, Ridley Scott. It had a budget of $130 million. And it made $218 million at the box office. It starred Orlando Bloom with an all-star supporting cast: Ava Green, Jeremy Irons, David Thewlis, Brendan Gleeson, Martin Sokas, and Liam Neeson. The story is fiction, but the backdrop is historically accurate: the Crusades and Balian of Eberlin. The real Balian was born in 1143 AD and died in 1193 AD. He was the Lord of Eberlin, which was a town and a castle in Jerusalem. He married Maria, the widow queen of Jerusalem. They had 4 children, and this union made the House of Eberlin one of the most powerful families in the Kingdom of Jerusalem. However, in the movie, Balian, played by Orlando Bloom, is a blacksmith living somewhere in France. His father, played by Liam Neeson, visits him one day and tells him he is his father, and if he wants to collect his inheritance, he can follow him to Jerusalem. At first, Balian declines, but he changes his mind when he realizes he can find the spirit of Jesus for the sake of his dead wife. On the way to Jerusalem, his father dies, and he meets one of the generals of the Sultan, Saladin. When he gets to Jerusalem, his father's men find him. He meets Baldwin, the king of Jerusalem, who is sick with leprosy, his sister Sibylla, played by Ava Green, and her husband, Guy de Lusignan, played by Martin Sokas. And Balian inherits Eberlin, a 1,000-acre property that includes slaves. Some are Christian, some are Jewish, some are Muslim. And eventually he fights Saladin on behalf of the king for control of Jerusalem. When Ridley Scott did interviews about making this movie, someone asked him why he wanted to make a movie about the Crusades. His reply was, and I quote, "It is a very rich time in history. If you examine those 200 years historically, you see every possible shade of human behavior. You can go in and choose the moment you want to explore." End quote. Scott then spoke to screenwriter William Monahan and asked him if he was familiar with the subject of knights and the Crusades. He said yes, and he started writing the script for Kingdom of Heaven. Scott, who also directed Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, and Gladiator, he mentioned in interviews that in many ways, Kingdom of Heaven was the toughest film he ever made. One reason was the subject of the film, Christians and Muslims fighting over Jerusalem. He didn't want all the Christian characters to be portrayed as heroes, and he did not want all the Muslim characters to be portrayed as antagonists. So there is a balance between both sides. Also, for Ridley Scott, the message of the movie is tolerance. He said, and I quote, "The tragedy of this story is we still have a lack of understanding between us, and it is nearly 900 years since the Crusades. We have never truly resolved our differences." End quote. Because we follow Balian throughout the entire movie, the most important casting choice is finding the actor who can play him. Ridley Scott worked with Orlando Bloom when he made Black Hawk Down. So when it was time to cast actors for Kingdom of Heaven, Bloom was Scott's first and only choice to play Balian. At first, Bloom did not feel sure he could play Balian, so Scott had to talk him into it. When Bloom signed on, he had to gain 15 to 20 pounds for the role. He said that he ate about 6 meals a day. To me, this is one of the best casting decisions I have ever seen on screen. It is right up there with Charlton Heston playing Ben-Hur and Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. One of the reasons I love this movie, I am an introvert. So is Balian. It is hard to find a movie in which the main character you're following is an introvert. It is also hard to find an actor who can convincingly play an introvert without the character appearing to be boring. Furthermore, the script includes moments of silence where Balian doesn't say much or says nothing at all, but Bloom is able to communicate what Balian is thinking and portray the character in a powerful way. Balian is confident without being arrogant. He is a great warrior, but also there are moments where he is humble and forgiving. He is everything a knight should be, and he is the epitome of what chivalry was during that time. So to me, Orlando Bloom was the perfect choice. Now, this goes back to watching a great movie to learn filmmaking. So this movie is perfect for filmmaking students. A great screenwriter knows which scenes needs dialogue, which scenes don't. A great writer knows when a character should speak and when he or she should have no lines. You just let the actor convey emotion without any lines at all. Another important piece to casting is the King of Jerusalem. When I first saw the movie in theaters, I was reading the credits to see who played the king, because we never see his face. He has leprosy, and it is safe to assume to convey his position of power to his knights and his subjects, he wears a silver mask, and he is completely covered from head to toe. He was not in the closing credits, so when I was doing my research for this film, I finally found out who played the King of Jerusalem. It was Edward Norton. Story has it that he was considered to play Sibylla's husband, Guy de Lusignan. But after he read the script, he wanted to play the King of Jerusalem. And since the character requires wearing a mask, he asked that he be taken out of the credits. Ridley Scott wanted to make a movie that was historically accurate, so that was another reason why the movie was difficult to make. I wasn't able to find how long the production phase lasted, but I was able to learn that the movie was shot in part in Monaco, where Scott shot Gladiator and Black Hawk Down. Some scenes were shot in Spain, including Casa de Pilatos, located in Seville, and the scenes of Jerusalem was shot in large sets built from scratch. The film's costume designer was Jonty Yates. She also had a lot of research and work to do. She created 15,000 costumes, including making 7 costumes for each member of the stunt team. Yikes! That's a lot of work. The importance of authenticity was also conveyed in Balian's job as a blacksmith. A British blacksmith was hired to teach Orlando Bloom how to manage a forge the way blacksmiths did during the 12th century. So a lot of prep work went into this film.
I offer you the world.
You are a princess, and I am no lord. You have my love and my answer.
I go to pray. For what? For the strength to endure what is to come.
So let's talk about the director's cut, because I don't think I have spoken about it in detail in previous flashbacks. But for this movie, we have some interesting information about it. Ridley Scott said he was unhappy with the theatrical version, and he blamed it on the studio paying too much attention on the opinions of preview audiences. They thought the movie was too long, so the studio wanted another cut. So 45 minutes of the film were cut. However, the reviews when it came out in theaters were mixed. So when the DVD came out in December 2005, we got the director's cut, and the critics gave far more positive reviews.
The love that I had was hurt a little bit by the constant cutting down of the film. And I think that's partly why today, to sit here and work on a longer version, to get all this depth of characters back, that really is making it. That's really what makes this film. You've got to understand it, you've got to feel it, you've got to see why they're doing things, and it's got to make sense. It's all coming together, so this is a total pleasure to just see it come together the way that I wish the film should be.
My sincere desire and sense is that the director's cut will live on longer than the theatrical release. And I think that it's a more cohesive piece. I think it's a more gratifying piece. It's the kind of piece that can have greater longevity than the theatrical release. It can hold up more to multiple viewings. It's the kind of film that reveals more and more to you every time you watch it. And it's more relevant. It's more relevant now, and I think it'll be more relevant in a long-term way as well.
I would hope that basically this becomes the proper version of the movie.
One critic said the director's cut was the most substantial director's cut of all time. The director's cut clocks in at 3 hours, 15 minutes. So, in an interview, Scott was asked if previews are necessary. His reply was, and I quote, "It depends on who is in the driver's seat. If you've got a lunatic doing my job, then you need to preview. But a good director should be experienced enough to judge what he thinks is the correct version to go out into the cinema." End quote. Because the director's cut is far better than the theatrical version, I think it costed the movie a few Oscar nominations. The Academy showed Gladiator some love, and I think The Kingdom of Heaven also deserved some love as well. So that is all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. And at this time I am posting this flashback, you can find Kingdom of Heaven on Amazon Prime, YouTube, Fandango, and Google Play. On the other hand, I got the movie on DVD. I have worn out this DVD over the past 20 years, so I don't watch it as much as I used to anymore because I don't want the box to tear apart. If I had known its anniversary would be celebrated in theaters, I would have bought a ticket because, like I said, 20 years ago, we saw the theatrical version, and after I bought the DVD, I was upset because I felt the movie fans got robbed. So, if you have never seen this film, please go see it. One of the greatest films ever made. A big shout out to Ridley Scott. He is an inspiration to me as I try to figure out my own filmmaking journey. So, take care everyone, and I will see you next time with more movie reviews and more movie flashbacks.